So I've just sat some zazen, and I thought I'd share some thoughts with you today, this evening, as it is here. Nice early feeling of summer coming into the air finally, after some very cold weeks. And I'd like to thank my teacher Taigu and Jundo for allowing us Unsui this space to share our thoughts, and in my case, my ramblings with you. I found greatly inspiring the two talks that Taigu and Jundo did recently. Taigu's True Colours, about allowing our own true Dharma to come forth, and how he talked about the robe and the earthy and ordinary colour of the robe, and how it is this, ordinary, banal thing, and at the same time is the Buddha's body, is the body of all reality. And then Jundo's talk about how often our teachers don't emphasize enough the absolute, mystical, transcendent, incredible reality of Zazen. Enlightenment in practice. And how mind-blowing that is. That Zazen, that Samadhi, that Zazen beyond thinking. So I found both talks very, very inspiring. So today I just wanted to kind of continue a little bit some of the themes that our two teachers brought forward, and in my own humble way just bring them to you with a poem by one of my favourite poets, Paddy Kavanagh, who talks about the banal and the incredible, who talks about how this samsara is in no way separate from nirvana, as we recognise in our recitation of the Heart Sutra, our chanting the Heart Sutra in English. Nirvana is already here. The banal, the relative and the absolute, which we recognise in our Shinkantaza, where we do not strive for that nirvana, and we give up our striving. This banal, this relative, this absolute, you can see it in the robe, in the way the robe itself is such an ordinary piece of material, often made from rejected pieces of material, and how it is transformed into the Buddha's body, into the absolute. And then even look at these clothes, this tracksuit I'm wearing. This is the banal. Taigu often talks about how the koromo underneath the kesa and the kimono are cultural layers added on, how the only essential thing is the okesa. And Nishijima, Jundo's teacher, as Jundo often says, wore a suit, a business suit or shirt, sometimes under his kesa. And Taigu's teacher, Chodo Cross, I've seen many pictures of him wearing just ordinary Western clothes with the kesa on top. The relative and the absolute, fitting like the box and the lid, as the Sando guy tells us. So this poem I want to read you is, I might read you two. They're very short. It's about the really that these things I'm talking about in this. So this Paddy Kavanagh, as he's known, was from County Monaghan. He was a farmer. He was a drunkard, a cantankerous drunkard man, cranky, who came to Dublin to become a writer. He lived in poverty. He came from, County Monaghan, where the rural part of Ireland, where he lived a very hard life, subsisting on potatoes, very much like my parents did, that peasant reality into which they were born, certainly my grandparents, and very different to the country that I grew up in. But even as a child, I saw some of that, and the ghosts of that. This book, I see from the inscription, Christmas 1989, a very happy Christmas, Ian, and every good wishes for 1990. I hope it will bring great happiness. And that is from my parents, my mum and dad, almost 25 years ago, almost a quarter of a century ago. How time really flies. In this book are texts that I return to again and again. They're touchstones in my life. They're like the Genjo Koan, the Mountains and River Sutra, the Bendoa, the places we come again and again to realize the Dharma, awakening. So yeah, Paddy Kavanagh was kicked out of every pub in Dublin, really, and was greatly disliked, but he was a mystic. So I'll read you one poem to start with. This was written by Paddy Kavanagh when he had, I think it was cancer. He was in hospital, very sick. He went out for a walk by the Grand Canal in Dublin. The Grand Canal is just a simple canal, nothing fancy, with little locks and waterfalls. And as he was walking, he saw a seat dedicated to a woman who had passed. Lines written on a seat on the Grand Canal, Dublin, erected to the memory of Mrs. Dermot O'Brien. And Paddy Kavanagh in this poem asks, when he passes, that he be similarly remembered with a canal bank seat. And indeed, after he died, some of his friends got together and raised the money and put up a seat with a statue of Kavanagh sitting on it, and this poem inscribed upon that seat. So this poem really recognises the amazing in the ordinary. Oh, commemorate me where there is water, canal water preferably, so stilly, greeny at the heart of summer. Brother, commemorate me thus beautifully, where by a loch Niagarasly roars the falls for those who sit in the tremendous silence of mid-July. No one will speak in prose who finds his way to these Parnassian islands. A swan goes by, head low with many apologies. Fantastic light looks through the eyes of bridges. And look, a barge comes bringing from Athy and other far-flung towns' mythologies. O commemorate me with no hero courageous tomb, just a canal bank seat for the passer-by. Nothing special. No hero's tomb, just a canal bank seat. I'll just read you one more very quickly, written at the same time. Again, I think it's very Zen in its realizations and awakenings. This is called Canal Bank Walk, so the locale is the same. So in the middle of the city, in the middle of the hustle and bustle of the city, Kavanagh is finding these moments of Satori. Leafy with Love Bank and the green waters of the canal pouring redemption for me, that I do the will of God, wallow in the habitual, the banal, grow with nature again as before I grew. The bright stick trapped, the breeze adding a third party to the couple sitting on an old seat, and a bird gathering materials for the nest, for the word, eloquently new and abandoned to its delirious beat. O unworn world, enrapture me in a web of fabulous grass and eternal voices by a beach. Feed the gaping need of my senses. Give me ad lib to pray unself-consciously with overflowing speech. For this soul needs to be honoured with a new dress woven from green and blue things and arguments that cannot be proven. Arguments that cannot be proven. So, the mystery of all this. If we sit silently for a moment, can we see that mystery? There is the gate. That's where we can enter it. So, thanks for listening to me. There's birds singing outside, as they always do when the sun goes down and as night approaches. Thanks for allowing me to talk. It's always great to sit with you guys, and our practice is, well, it is something.